Hey everybody, welcome back to the Centaur Fragrance channel. Thank y'all so much for being here today. Again, if you find that you like my content, please like, comment, and subscribe as always. And even share the video if you're feeling most generous. So today we're going to be talking about a great fragrance, a fantastic fragrance. But I do have to say some things before we talk about this fragrance, guys and gals. This fragrance is a discontinued fragrance, so it's going to be harder to find. About the only places you can find it are eBay or people who personally sell it themselves. So it's very hard to find, very limited, and really more expensive than it should be. This fragrance doesn't have a lot of hype. It does have a good following behind it, but it's not extreme. So the price is going to be high. Niche quality prices here. I'm not going to hide it from you until the end of the video. But if you're willing to explore, hear about a very good fragrance, a very classic fragrance, and a fragrance perhaps that helped shape the fragrance world in a way, let's explore that fragrance. So I'm sure y'all see the title. Let's talk about Viktor and Rolf Antodite. Now, let's talk about the smell, the performance, the compliment factor, the price, and all those good things. So what you're going to get out of this fragrance, it does look green, but it doesn't come off as a particularly green fragrance. This fragrance comes off more as an herbal fragrance, a very fresh fragrance, almost a minty fragrance. Now, if you've smelled absinthe before, it does have a little bit of that vibe, which is kind of, again, a very light and green kind of alcohol type smell. It has a good amount of lavender in it, but never comes off, like smelling like lavender or being like a purple fragrance. It smells like a very clear, very refined, elegant green fragrance. It never smells astringent or, kind of sharp, like really too citrusy. But it almost verges on that kind of DNA. Again, this is a very unique fragrance. It's not going to be for everybody. When they tried to advertise for this fragrance and really get it out there, this fragrance never became really popular, but it was very well. It is very well done. It's very complex. If you go to Fragrantica or anywhere and look up the notes, this is one of the most complex fragrances, especially in the designer world. It's very well blended, smells very high quality, even niche like quality here, and the performance is just solid. Let's talk about the performance then. I can get anywhere from 7 to 9 hours out of this fragrance. Sometimes on an odd day, it'll give me closer to 5. I don't know why that is. This fragrance does perform though, especially in the first hour. You have to be careful with the trigger. This might be a light, kind of fresh green fragrance, but I one time wore, 2 sprays and just went into a classroom when I was going to college, and I was choking people out. I couldn't believe it, but this fragrance is powerful, especially in the first 30 minutes, even the first hour. This fragrance really kicks. So, if you're a niche head, you can really tell that this fragrance has a lot of synthetic ingredients going into it, but they're used very well. It smells very good. Let's talk about the compliment factor. For the most part, I think people were pleasantly surprised. I don't think that they were wowed in any way particularly. Especially as the fragrance dries down, it becomes more of a barbershop fragrance. It doesn't really have any of the spice behind it, but you get some of that soft, almost powdery type of barbershop cream feel. The lavender's definitely there. It's a little bit green. So it didn't wow them as it dried down. Particularly, it smelled nice. It smelled calming. It definitely did smell unique, though. I call this an alien in the fragrance world because there's nothing else that smells like it. I don't think there's ever going to be anything that does smell like this again. It's very unique. It's very different, but still a little bit mass appealing. Just a little bit. It's not too daring. Now, if you do tend to overspray, it could offend some people. If you're a younger guy, trying out this fragrance. I do think that this fragrance is a little bit masculine, but of course, wear what you love. But this fragrance is going to be for the older crowd, probably 30 plus. If you like Terre de Hermes and those kinds of fragrances, Dunhill Icon, wonderful fragrances. This one has solid performance. It smells very unique for a green fragrance. It's easy to wear. Um, I've held on to this fragrance because there's just something about it to me that's very special. To me, this fragrance is very unique. I find it addictive, but I only wear it during the spring. So that's why I'm bringing this review out to y'all. This is a fragrance I thought I could have mentioned in my top 10 best spring list, but I couldn't mention it in that list because it's just so hard to get your hands on. It's kind of forgotten, and I don't think it's going to be as mass appealing. It's definitely not as affordable as the fragrances in that list I made, that top 10, best spring list. So this fragrance is lovely. I recommend it for certain gentlemen. If you like to be very unique, but not too daring or possibly offensive, this fragrance is very good. If you're afraid of powdery fragrances, this fragrance isn't very powdery per se, but it has a little bit of that vibe, and it's persistent. So even though it's not strong on the powder, that kind of feel never seems to go away. It's always in the base of the fragrance, so that's definitely going to annoy you. And I do find that this is a masterpiece. I don't know if I could say it's a 10 out of 10, but it impacted the fragrance world in an interesting way. So about the time this was released, Acqua di Gio had just come out really, or had just established itself as kind of the king of fragrances at the time. And then we started getting sweet fragrances, and then the craze, continued to now, which seems to be like Tonka sweet fragrances. This this fragrance alone helped people know, or still kind of revived some of the interest in more unique designer fragrances. I think that it spurred a little bit of the movement. Perhaps it was an inspiration for Tom Ford going forward with, more daring fragrances that were still likable and accessible to just about everybody. So this is a killer fragrance. It smells fantastic, but it still is more on the barbershop side. So if you don't like old school fragrances, I don't think you're going to love this. I find this very hard to wear for myself. I almost never wear this fragrance, but I do find that it's addictive. I do find that it's very tantalizing. So let me know what you think about this fragrance. Let me know if you love this fragrance. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to know if you know about this fragrance. It's a very different, very hard to get your hands on. It's an alien of a fragrance. I can't say it any better than that. So let me know what you think again. Let me know how my reviews are doing. I had to make a review of this one. It's hard to put into words, this kind of smell. I encourage you to get a sample. Again, this isn't for everybody. It's going to be for a very small select group of people. But I love to do reviews for everybody. Whether you like cheapies, whether you like designer fragrances, niche, hard to find fragrances, or whether you like, the most expensive fragrances out there. I hope to be able to review some of those. I'm definitely going to start reviewing more indie fragrances. So this is an interesting one. It's in my collection, so I'm happy to have it. And thank you guys and gals for watching. If you stuck around to the end of the video, I think you like my content and you like this video. So why don't you like, comment, subscribe. And again, if you're feeling really generous, even share the video. So thank you all for being here today. And let me know what kind of Enigma fragrances you have, what kind of magnetic fragrances you have in the comments below. Hard to find fragrances, discontinued fragrances. Let's get that conversation started. So thank you. I'll see y'all next time, of course. and don't forget to wear what you love. And this has been the Centaur Fragrance channel, and I'll see you. Bye.